smoke and fear. Can you stay in the holy light?
Sup, welcome. All right, we're likely gonna have a pretty slow stream today. I just wanted to talk to you guys mostly. I think the VAT. Oh, whoa! Where's my? Wait. God damn it! Where? Oh boy. Okay. Anyways, the first thing I did was mess something up here on my stream, but I'm here, and yeah. Oh, it was fine when I checked it earlier, but obviously not. Technology, no. Why? Thank goodness it froze on on an okay frame. There we go. What's up? All right. So we're gonna be talking about 3.5. Yes, we are. Sorry about that. I'm gonna try to mute. There's so many things going on the computer. It's just, what can I say? There we go. Should be muted now. Fingers crossed. Okay. So 3.5. All right. And at this point, I think it shouldn't be a surprise to most people that the 0.5 curse seems to be real. But the more that I've sat here and thought about it, I'm just like, but why? is there a reason why every time during this part of the patch, Hoyoverse decides to do something like this? And the more that I think about it, honestly, the less sense it makes. Because wouldn't you want your players to always be happy and excited for what's happening? Why would you on purposely have a patch every time, right, towards like the midway point, or maybe like a little past the midway point, and it really leaves a bad taste in your mouth, doesn't it? Does it not? Like, does it not make you feel like oh, like this is bound to happen, so you're just immediately zoned out or disconnected? I know, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not here saying that you know, it's all doom and gloom, but it's just, I think there's gonna be a lot of people that just tunes out for the next multiple patches, not just this one. Like, the newer players aside, I think new players who are coming in patch like even 3.0, 1, 2, 3, 4, they're still going strong. Like the 3.0 people are fine. But now the Inazuma people are going to slowly experience what the 1.0 people felt when by the time they got into Inazuma. So if any of you in the chat are Inazuma players, I'm actually really curious as to how you currently feel about the progression of the game, how it's developing, stuff like that. Are you more so excited? I know when we think about Fontaine, that's of course quite exciting. But like for people who have been playing this game for over a year now, how are you guys feeling? How are you holding up? Right? And depending on how you approach the game, you might have different breakpoints. If I should what word to say. When I say breakpoints, I really mean like the point where the game stops being fun and it starts becoming a chore. That's usually when I'd say like that's a break point, right? Yoru13 says started 3.0, not enough resin. Yeah, I can definitely see people in who started in 3.0 are still really in it. You just feel like there's so much that you still need to work on for your account to continue to develop. The main problem is that you guys don't have access to a lot of the characters. There are people who started in 3.0 who have not gained access yet to certain character reruns, right? So that's one thing. Character reruns are huge for players' progression and in general just reigniting people's interest for the game. The HVK says, I'm a 1.0 player, and while I can't say I'm bored yet, I am starting to ask the question why. Like, why keep rolling for new units? Why still be so invested into the game? Yeah, like I don't think there are too many 1.0 players left. Most of my friend lists who were from the 1.0 era, most of them are gone. Genshin has not really done a good job, in my opinion, to incentivize players to continue striving for a goal. And I think Dawei put it best himself in an interview, is that they are not here to cure your boredom, but they're here to more so try to cure your loneliness with Genshin and the products they make at Hoyoverse, if that makes sense. Dawei is by no means somebody who wants to entertain you as much as he wants to make you feel like Genshin is your partner. It's quite the fascinating approach if you really think about it to a video game company, right? Because that's what Genshin and Hoyoverse is. They make video games. They make games. Mobile games, actually. They don't even make PC games. They just make mobile games. And Dawei has made it very clear that his target audience are otakus who are usually alone by themselves, and they love anime and they love these cute characters. And he's made it a point saying that we design our characters specifically for this demographic of the audience. So it's like, okay, then is it not right? Like, sure, he wants to entertain you to a degree, but his goal was never to make you have all the fun in the world all day, every day, right? 30, 40 minutes a day is as much as Dawe wants to give you, mostly because that any more than that, and you're going to get tired of it too fast. Frankie says 1.0 player here, and to be honest, I just play once a week, maybe an hour. I can't beat everything easily, and unless a new era comes out, I don't play much. That's also a great approach. Like I've said in the past that Genshin is not a game that's designed for you to grind. And for people who start in 1.0, and to answer the question earlier, to say like people who start asking the question why, a lot of the times people will arrive at the answer that there is no reason. There is no answer. There is no, at least there's no logical reason as to why you should continue grinding. That is just cause. This is a situation I find myself in where it's like, have you guys ever tried to ask your parents why? When they tell you to do something, you ask them why, and then their answer to you is because I said so. This is like the equivalent to that. Basically, there is no why. Right? Like why? There's no why. Because Dawe said so. Because Dawe wants this. Because Dawe wants that. There is no why. You have no answer to that question. Right? And even if you do have an answer to that question, everyone will have a different answer for that question. So it's really not an answer, right? It's basically something that's tailor-made for yourself. Why do you want to keep pulling for? Why do you want to pull for Dehya? Why do you want to pull for Nahida? Why do you want Raiden constellations? Like, the answer is going to be mostly different for everyone. This is not a cookie cutter answer. Whereas, like, most people want a cookie cutter answer. People want a one size fits all kind of thing. Right? Nobody wants like a half-ass answer where it's like, oh, but you know, depending on what you want, like it's very wishy-washy. It basically makes them feel like you didn't answer their question, and in fact, you wasted their time. Extraction 2K says, did you do the latest Beetle battle yet? Nope, I have no interest for those events. I have no interest for that particular. I come to realize I don't have any interest for non-combat events. And there's also a point in which I don't want to go hunt the combat any further because once there's too much BS that's like, oh, you gotta do this, and then you can fight for 5 seconds, and you gotta go do this. Then it's also like, it's too complicated. Like, I don't want to bother with that. I just want to use my characters. Like, I just want to see my characters killing some stuff. That's all I want, right? You don't even have to give me much primos for it, or any primos, in my opinion, for me, right? For me, I'm sure you guys want primos, but I'm not very motivated by that. My goal is just, I want to use the characters that I built somewhere that feels like fun, that I can experiment with. That's it. Any other event, no, zero interest, and I'm not gonna really do them. Taking advice is Walrus. Why do you always think HoYoverse does not make mistakes? That's false. I keep saying the biggest mistake they've ever made was let Morgana be a thing. I've said that like 20 million times, and I'll continue to say it. They fucked up Venti. They messed him up real good. And also, they made a huge mistake releasing Zhongli as in his poor ass state. But I think they've made less and less mistakes, and of course, they're evolving as a company. HoYoverse's their main focus is always revenue, right? If you just follow the revenue, you'll know that in terms of revenue, they've not made many mistakes. If you're trying to look at it from like a game design perspective and how to optimize characters, sure, you can say they've made tons of mistakes, but I'm telling you right now, their end goal is money. Money, 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 money. Revenue, 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 revenue. I always look at it from a business perspective. Is MiHoYo winning? MiHoYo is winning. The player, don't get me wrong, the players are losing. We're losing hard, but the HoYoverse is always winning. You'd never bet with the house, right? You never bet against the house. The house always wins. They are not, like, yes, they can make mistakes when it comes to fundamental kit designs, but I'm telling you, the way they design this BS is all to make sure that in the end, they maximize revenue. It's always about revenue. So we have to separate these two things first and foremost. If you want to talk about game design and character kits, I think 90% of the characters are completely screwed. Like 90% of the characters in this game could be so much better if more attention was put. If HoYoverse's goal was to make good characters and good gameplay and game design as a general thing is what they focused on, there's no way it would be this bad. However, money is what they're focused on. Game design comes second. Everything comes second to money, right? So it's just, what can we do? What can we do? Do you guys think we can say anything to influence change in the way HoYoverse designs characters? No. Look at the 12 constellation. Like, I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but CN keeps talking about HoYoverse pivoting towards a 12 constellation system. Now, you guys might be wondering, what the hell's Walrus talking about? 12 constellation, dude. Like, 12 constellations. Well, here's the thing, right? For example, take a look at a character like Ayaka and Shinhe. Okay, let me show you guys this. Here. What a great conversation to start. Oh, sorry, it's not here. It's the next patch. But okay. In CN, one of the biggest whale bait, which is also successful, is Shinhe. Okay? Ayaka C6 plus Shinhe C6 is some of the most Craigasm BS you'll see in Genshin Impact. You guys might feel like, oh, Walrus, but like, you know, Ganyu C6, Yelan C6 is also really insane. But what CN apparently has been saying is that Yelan was supposed to be what Shinhe was for a cryo character. Like, Yelan was supposed to be the vaporized version of that. The whole design for Yelan was not to be a standalone god, but another second 12 constellation character. So people, they were supposed to incentivize you to pull C6 Yoimiya along with C6 Yelan for the Giga Whales. However, they messed up. Okay? They messed up severely. They they messed up so bad. They accidentally ended up making the best character C6 standalone in the game. But their original goal was to make another Shinhe. They wanted to make a Shinhe for like Hu Tao, for Yoimiya. And then they completely just overtuned her. Now, one thing we have to understand here is that we have to give them credit. It's incredibly hard to balance it just perfectly, like how they want it to. Shinhe is so niche. That's why Shinhe could be released in that manner. However, they should have known Yelan was never going to be that niche of a character, being Hydro and all. Tech the virus is Walrus. Kit design causes loss of revenue though. So claim to design mistakes also so Techie, but let me tell you, Techie, if all characters are perfectly designed, then no character is perfectly designed. I don't know if that makes any sense. Listen, do you guys honestly think you would value Archons as much if all characters were perfectly in sync with each other just as well as, and all their kits and constellations flow as well as the Archons do? Like, Archons now and these good characters only feel good and funnel your money into that because there are so many crap characters just sitting around. Does that make sense? You need, like in Chinese, actually, maybe this analogy is not that good. It's just like when you eat something sweet, then you go eat something, then you crave something that's salty. When you eat something salty, something sweet suddenly feels a lot more potent. You need the balance. You can't always have all the good characters, then you won't appreciate all the good characters. They become the norm. If every single character comes out is like Nahida, like I hate them. Every single one, like Nilu. All of them are just as strong and effective. Yeah, wrong phrase. Yeah, exactly. It's when every character is the best, only one or none is. Yeah, like you can't have all of them be best and amazing. So there's bound to be some underperforming characters. There's bound to be some kits that are just not as good as the other ones. In Genshin, like there is a discrepancy, there is a difference, but honestly, I haven't seen the numbers, but I don't feel like the worst 5-star DPS is like so much worse than the best DPS. Yes, it's worse, but by how much, right? And it's great that HoYoVerse has at least so far made it possible for every single 5 stars to and 4 stars to still clear the game. But I mean that's by no means difficult to do, because the game, they've set the bar at a point where as long as you play the game and understand it to a certain degree and you just click some buttons, you should be able to beat it. Maybe after a couple of tries, you should be able to beat it. The big issue is they're not willing to buff or tweak any of the old characters. Yeah, and I think it's a glaring issue. A lot of these characters' kits. Eula is just another one. And let me tell you guys another thing, right? HoYoVerse is leveraging one of the laws against not being able to alter previous characters, because people had to like pay for them essentially, right? Gotcha for them, pay for them, whatever. But they're leveraging that. In fact, let me tell you guys this right now. HoYoVerse actually makes more money by the fact that they make changes retroactively. Is that the right word? They make changes retroactively, meaning they don't go back and change the characters that have a problem. They don't rebalance characters. They'll make new characters and sell the new characters. So they have a problem, right? And then they sell you the solution. Right? If they are allowed to buff and change older characters, they're going to lose a stupid amount of money. Right? They're going to have they're going to lose so much money if they're allowed to go back and fix all these problems. Like Venti, oh, let's just fix them. Right? Eula, let's fix her. Well, like Dia, oh, don't worry, release her and then we'll fine tune her as we go. But that's the thing. If they're allowed to do that, I mean, they're not, but if they're allowed to do that, they're actually going to lose a lot of money if they do that. If it's not a bug, they won't fix it. That's true. That's true. If it's not a game-breaking bug that costs them money, they won't fix it. There are bugs in the game. They just won't fix it unless it actually directly hurts them financially. It's like HoYoVerse is weird because they're not doing the bare minimum. There are companies out there that does the bare minimum. And then there are companies who does a little more. And then I think HoYoVerse is slightly above that. They hold themselves to a high standard when it comes to the quality of their assets, game-wise, right? Visually, auditory stuff, gameplay, general gameplay, and gaming experience is all relatively high. But when it comes to the finesse of it, the really tiny details, they are very slacking, and it's very obvious they are monetary focused. But I mean, who can blame them? I'm telling you guys right now, put any of us, including myself, in the same position that HoYoVerse's CEO is in, we're all gonna do the same thing, and most of us probably won't even be as generous. Like, this is not me kissing HoYoVerse's ass. We're all like, if you had to, let me ask you guys something. If you had the chance to make $1 billion or $1.5 billion, what would you choose? Like, most people would just choose the $1.5 billion. And to be honest, there's really no difference. It's just like, why would you give up $500 million for what? Like, what are you giving it up for? So the players are happier, but they are happy. The general player base is generally happy. Oh, but they can be happier. They can be even more satisfied. But you lose $500 million and they can be happier. Right? This is, you see, it doesn't really make sense if you think about it from their perspective, right? What are we giving back to them by having them lose $500 million? What are we providing? Oh, we'll continue playing your game. We'll keep supporting your game. But we're still supporting their game. See what I mean? It's like, hey, here's the dilemma, right? They are essentially, we're basically saying, like, why don't you polish your game better? Why don't you optimize it better? Why don't you make characters better? Why don't you, do all this and do all that? And in exchange, then we'll continue playing your game and supporting your game, and we'll sing praises for your game. But we're all already doing that. You see, that's a contradiction, right? Like, we're not doing anything about it. So why should HoYoverse do anything about it? Why would they just willingly throw away hundreds of millions of dollars? For what? For nothing. Just burn it. So that's why HoYoverse is continuing to go down this path of, they're going to keep pushing the boundaries, keep pushing the limits of what they can do with these characters. It's pretty smart. Like, that's like they're pretty smart. And they have enough capital to experiment, which most companies that makes these type of games don't have the luxury of doing. Walrus, no one is asking for something perfectly designed. Things like auto targeting on Yoimiya, Dia kit totally lacks cohesion. Yeah, but the thing is, Techie, where do we draw the line? Right? There is no line to be drawn. Right now, HoYoverse is probably still leading the entire gacha market in terms of revenue. What is there to point towards a change? Like, how does HoYoverse feel like, oh, we need to up our game here? We need to, like, oh my goodness, Tower of Fantasy, my God, they're overtaking us. There's no competition. There's no innovation. In fact, HoYoverse is the only one that can truly be said to innovate in this entire market cap. Right? They're getting ZZZ online soon. Honkai Star Rail is coming out very soon. They got like all these IPs that are moving forward all at the same time. Who's to challenge them, Techie? Right? Like, we cannot hold ourselves to a certain standard and then yet hold corporations to a completely new standard. Sure, they're corporations, they're billion-dollar companies, but they're still ran by people just like you and me, who have flaws, who are greedy, who get complacent, which they obviously are. I'm not saying HoYoverse is not complacent. They are very complacent, but that has come from the fact that we have fed them to the point where they can be complacent. They can be, like, selfish and guilty, but no one is in a position to challenge them, to punish them. We cannot. The community is divided, and I said this in the past. HoYoverse divided us on purpose. They make these waifus and husbandos, and we're too busy, like, bickering amongst ourselves to even point fingers in the right direction. Like, for example, the Hu Tao mains would be like, God damn it, we need blah, 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 we need this and this and this. And then the Eula mains will point in the completely opposite directions, like, no, we need this and this and this. So the voices just cancel each other out. You see what I mean? Like, nothing will ever really rise up and become a big issue again. It will never happen. Because, like, you guys know the phrase divide and conquer, right? HoYoverse has made the community as divided as, like, any game can be. Like, I would love to see the Hu Tao mains and the Yoimiya mains come down and, like, just have a good talk. But no, they hate each other. I would love to see Ganyu mains and Ayaka mains find common ground. But no, they absolutely hate each other. Right? It's always a competition. The fact that there's no PvP in this game basically forces players to PvP in other regards. If you like Genshin, well then, you better fight for your waifus. Are you truly, is Ganyu even your waifu if you're not willing to talk some smack to the Ayaka main who's throwing shade? That's really, like, that's in essence, that's what Genshin is. It's just people bickering among themselves about what essentially is a single player game. Right? HoYoverse is weaponizing the otakus and their devotion towards waifus. And they're weaponizing that against other otakus. See? It's just like make sure that we are as divided as possible, so then really there's no way we can ever start anything. Which, you know, I've long given up on starting movements and making change and promoting. Like, that's why I don't talk about this stuff, right? So, but when you guys ask me this stuff, and I try to explain it to you guys, doesn't it sound like clear as day? Like, really, we can be righteous and we can be like, fight for what is right, Walrus. You have a platform and a voice. You should represent the people. Bro, the people don't even represent the people. Like, what do you mean? The people don't even know what they represent. Like, I can ask you guys in chat right now, and I guarantee you, there's gonna be like 7, 8, 9, 10 different things people want in the game. I can't fight for all of them. You gotta choose one. And then we start fighting amongst ourselves. The 10 different groups of people will be like, no, we should do this. No, we should do that. Are you guys crazy? See, no one can agree anything in Genshin Impact. Because the game is very open-ended. It's an open-ended game with a whole slew of characters. And it's just difficult enough to be considered like discussion worthy, but at the same time, it's not difficult enough that, you know, we're forced to play the game in a certain way. That's the tricky part, right? It balances itself in that fine line between where, okay, like meta doesn't really matter if you think about it, but there are cool, effective compositions that are sitting at the top. If you want to play them, be my guest. But it's also easy enough that even if you just do random BS Go, there's a good chance you're going to clear the game. So, you know, that's why there's this huge discrepancy. So what do we need in this game? What do we need? What do we need? Better characters, right? For example, Techie here says they should optimize characters a little better. They should not have broken kits. They should not have broken constellations. They should just make characters at least viable and decent. But then someone else would be saying, like, we need more teapot upgrades. We need more teapot features. We need a TCG update. We should have a separate client to play TCG. Right? And another person would be screaming, we need Genshin PvP. And everybody suddenly stops and looks at that person like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Get the fuck out of here, right? It's like, and then once that's settled, everybody goes back to bickering among themselves about random stuff again. You guys can't agree on anything with each other because nothing is important enough that it's like nothing damaging enough is enough to rally the community, right? For example, if Dia is bad, so what? Most people were not even polling for her to begin with, right? I think 70% of the community weren't even going to pull for her, regardless of whether or not she was going to be insane or not. People were just skipping. So, like, at best, only 30% of the community was going to rally and make something happen. And then the White Knights and then the other oppositions, like, dude, like, stop, don't worry. It's not like, no, whoa, no, whatever, right? So, what can possibly happen that causes enough controversy? For example, the last time, let me remind you guys, the last time that Hoyoverse had to change something because of community uprising was the anniversary, right? The anniversary was the last time, and I believe it was the first year anniversary. The second year anniversary, Hoyoverse was a little more careful, but the first year anniversary, bro, like that was the last time the community got together and made something happen. That was it. Yeah, and they didn't really do much, but like they took a pack that was supposed to be sold to us like a wing pack, and then they gave it to us for free. That's it. That's all they did. But it takes an oopsie of that magnitude for the community to rally together and say something. And listen, even then, get this, even then, there was at least, I would say 25 to 30% of the Genshin community who were like, you guys are spoiled. You shouldn't demand. You get what they give you. You shut up. You play the game. It's free. Right? You guys remember those people. And they, of course, got the goodies just like everybody else. Right? They when the gifts came into their inbox, they weren't like, oh, I'm not gonna take that because I don't deserve it. HoYoVerse is the one true God. I don't deserve these free good stuff. These are things that were demanded. Like, how dare you guys demand from gods? Like, you should be all on your knees appreciating what is given to you. I will deny this, HoYoVerse, my one true Lord. Like, those people were there. They still existed. So it's like, even in that situation, there is still a group of people who refused to stand with you guys. I guarantee you right now, and I'm saying this completely as like a extremist example, I guarantee you, if HoYoVerse the next day comes out and says like they did some like atrocious stuff, like the most vile thing you can possibly think of, like they poisoned like a water supply in, I don't know, like Africa or something, and it killed hundreds of thousands of people, there will still be people being like, well, you know, they still make pretty good games, like this shouldn't affect, you know, they shouldn't affect me wanting to play their product. Sure, I'm gonna like unfollow Dawei, or like I'm not gonna associate with Dawei, but I'll still play their game. Like, no, dude, it's just like, it doesn't matter how bad it gets. There will always be the like people who just make no sense. They will make zero sense. So it's like, there's really no point in trying to make something happen, at least within a community that is so divided. It's not going to happen. Right? It's not going to happen. Yes, if you have the general, as long as you can move the general public, it's good enough. Let's say 60-70% of the people moving on the same subject, that's good enough. But that is so damn hard and it's very inconsistent. You can't plan it. No one has enough influence in this community to make that happen. So discussing about any of these changes and like stuff like that, it's fruitless. We can criticize, we can talk about it, we can criticize, but actually expecting change, that's like expecting Dia to come out and be better than Hu Tao and Yoimiya. You know, it's not gonna happen. It's a fantasy. It's a dream. Or technically says though, Warriors, the only way agreement matters is how we use our wallet. Stop spending on bad units would be a start, so they stop making bad units. Wanderer Sims. But Techie, again, right? It'll be great if we can make this happen. I'm not saying that's a bad idea. I'm just saying it's impossible, right? It's another thing that it would be great if all the billionaires in the world donated to the poor and fed them and put a roof over their heads. Like all the billionaires donates money for free education around the world, right? The USA stopped scamming people with their BS healthcare system, right? Like, wouldn't it be nice if all the countries stopped putting so much money into their military budget and start putting it more towards exploration, right? Like finding a cure for cancer, like space exploration. Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't that be nice? But why doesn't it happen? And why don't people fight for it? Right? It's the same thing. Look at it from the macro scale. What I just said are all the macro scale stuff. Like, it's like world politics. And then you scale it down to Genshin. It's exactly the same model. Why don't we do it? It's the right thing, but why don't we do it? Right? Because it doesn't benefit us. Because it doesn't benefit anybody. Why should we sacrifice XYZ so other people can benefit from it? It's, you know, it's easy when we think about it. Oh, if everybody just don't poll for Dia, it'll send such a strong message. Go take a look at Dia mains. Go take a look at the comments. Just like not even bigger videos than content. Just look at my videos. There are people saying, "Oh, it doesn't matter how bad she is. Dia could be a 1-star that does no damage and just follows me around, and I'll still C6 her. I'll still spend thousands of dollars to max her out. I don't care. She's my waifu. I'll buy everything that is Dia related. Like I myself will sponsor hundreds of thousands of dollars for Dia. Right? It's, how are you going to convince those people? You can't. Dia's going to make some money. Is like I'm sure she's not going to be like record breaking. She's going to make some money, but you can't stop HoYoVerse from making money like altogether. It's not possible. To be honest, like as long as they make these characters likable enough, they're guaranteed to sell. It's just like I keep saying, like for example, Twanto can make a video about him taking a poop for 30 minutes and it'll get hundreds of thousands of views. In fact, I think that's going to be one of his bigger videos. It doesn't matter as long as you do something. Like you need to put some level of effort in. It'll work because you already did the hard work. The hard work was creating the game, right? Creating the platform, advertising it, live service it for years, have great music, like spent hundreds of millions into this project. That's the hard part. The hard part is over for HoYoVerse. Genshin will run itself for the next like 5-10 years if HoYoVerse wants it to. There's very little innovation that's left that needs to be put into Genshin. All the innovation needs to be put into now Honkai Star Rail, Zenless Zone Zero, and new IPs. Right? Genshin needs very little attention and resources in comparison to the revenue they generated. Right? So it's just let them do their thing and we will do our thing. You like a character, pull. You don't like a character, don't pull. Like I always say, I'm just going to say it like how it is, right? Dia is looking very, very bad. But that doesn't mean I can't, inhale some copium and be like, okay, but what if this happens? Could she be good? Okay, probably not, but there's still a chance. And I told people, if you don't really want Dia, you should skip her. You should skip her and just wait. If one day she spoofs you, she spoofs you. Right? And people are like, if you have a burning passion, it's like, oh my god, I have to have Dia. If I don't have Dia, I am going to cease to exist. Like my life will have no meaning. Like, oh my god, like if you're that gung-ho on Dia, pull for her. Right? Like you don't need me to tell you what you can pull and what you can't pull. If that's a burning passion you have, then do it. But at the same time, if you're so easily swayed to the point where, oh, she looks kind of bad, so now I'm not going to pull for her, then you were never that serious about pulling for her. You were looking for a strong character and you're looking in the wrong place. Dia likely is not going to be a strong character. You're barking up the wrong tree. Right? Just move on. Next. Thank you. Next. Right? Ayaka's coming. Ayaka's a great character. If you want to play Dendro, wait for Nahida rerun. Right? Like tons of options. If you want to have vertical scaling and be like, oh, I just want the best character in the game. I want to one-shot everything. I want to be like a one-man army. Start investing in Yelan constellations. There are answers to all these questions. But if you want to be like, my Kokoro has to be just as satisfied as my physical body, then, like only you know what you want. Only you know. But at the same time, there are objective truths in Genshin Impact, right? Nahida is a better character than Dia, most likely. Raiden is a better character than, let's say, like Razor, for example. Just like Kazuha is a better character than Venti, for example. Right? I mean, you guys can argue that. I'm not saying you guys can't argue and defend it. I'm just saying, in my opinion, that's an objective truth. That's an objective truth, and it's disingenuous if we kind of try to skew that and twist it around and tell other people, be like, you know what? If you want Venti, go for Venti. Like Venti and Kazuha, they're not that different. You're not gonna even feel it. Like, trust me, if you get Venti, it's the same as having Kazuha. Now, in my opinion, that's a freaking lie. You know, you just lied, and whoever believed you and followed through with that is gonna pay for it with months and months worth of primos. I mean, have I said things that are maybe a little more biased towards my opinion? Yeah, of course. Remember when I used to say Raiden C0 is like overrated? Not really anymore. I don't believe that anymore. But I keep saying that's after Dendro came out. Pre-Dendro, I still believe that Raiden was not as good as most people were saying she was. Okay? Post-Dendro, hey. Post-Dendro, she's a completely different monster at C0 and C2 and C3. But going forward, I'm telling you guys, right? Baiju is a character that I have my eyes on. I've been saying this for months and months. I'm saying Baiju ever since, like, he's going to be a Dendro healer. Dendro healer is a very, very important position that we have to fill. Right? Dendro healer is going to be very important because it's also going to be very unlikely another 5-star Dendro healer for like another maybe like 2-3 years, dudes. So really, like, if Baiju flops, I might quit the fucking game, bro. If Baiju flops, I might quit the game. But listen, there's no way Baiju can flop. You know why? Because Baiju, by default, has to be better than Yao Yao. And Yao Yao is hard carrying. So there's no way Baiju is gonna flop. No way. Like, Baiju, at worst, right? If you compare it to the other 5-stars and to their 4-star counterpart, Baiju should be like a C6 Yao Yao. And who doesn't want that? So you should just take the primos you were saving for Dia and just put it towards Baiju. Right? It's a very simple solution. I think that's the smartest decision most people can make. Ian says, wow, I wish Baiju is bad, so many would quit. Yeah, I think, to be honest, D has released like this might get many people to just stop playing, at least for the next little while. They'll just take a break, you know, like, which is cool. Like, I think it's very nice that HoYoverse is basically helping us take a break. But like, you know, you guys have been going for so long, so hard. You should take a break. Right? You guys deserve a break. Here, take a break. You know what? We'll help you take a break. It's so ridiculous, but it's true. It's just like they're out here giving people time to rest up and be like, come back when something interests you arrives. It could be Baiju. It could be Folklore. It could be a character from Natlan. But I always say, right, HoYoverse is not stressed when it comes to people quitting, people moving on, because they're constantly having a new stream of players coming in. Constantly. The fact that it was the patch before Al-Haytham patch, so it was like 3.3. Towards the end of 3.3, I remember there was a huge influx. Like, you guys don't notice this as much as content creators, but there was a huge influx of new players. I'm not gonna lie, I was like on Twitter, I was on watching YouTube, I was just on other social media. I was getting bombarded with Genshin ads. Bombarded. You guys have no idea. I was watching over 30 Genshin ads a day if I was like constantly on social media. Like, especially on my phone where I don't have ad blocker. Everywhere. Like, I could be playing another game that's, you know, those games where you gotta watch ads to collect some rewards. Bam! bam, Genshin ad, bam, Genshin ad, over and over and over. It's just Genshin ad all up in your face. Walruss says Copium is giving Hoyo too much credit. You think a standard banner unit has some grand plan for the future? Stop. Well, the thing is, I don't think it has a grand plan for the future. I think that it's introducing a new way to play Pyro. That's it. And it's, you know what? It's much easier for them to take a risk on a standard banner character than an actual legit character. So maybe Dehya is just the first step, right? Maybe Dehya is here to test the waters. Hey, is this gonna work? Are people gonna like play this playstyle? Are they gonna try it out? Like, are there any problems? Is it too strong? Okay, so it's not that bad. Maybe a little stronger, right? Oh, maybe play around with the ICD. Maybe for Melt we can reduce the ICD to 2.25 seconds. Like, they're gathering data. That's all they're doing, right? That's what they've been doing with a bunch of different features. Like, it actually, like listen, Techie, the fact that Dehya is a standard banner character even makes more sense to what I'm saying, because if they're trying to really pivot Pyro characters into two different categories, one for like a smoldering Pyro applicator like Dehya versus fast applicators like Xiangling. Because think about it. If like I keep saying this, there's no reason to play Dehya in, like, there's no reason for you to play Melt if there are characters like Xiangling. You guys right now think Xiangling Melt works, but Xiangling Melt is inferior to Xiangling Vaporize. By playing Xiangling in a Melt team, you are basically leaving damage on the table. That's what it is. But you're saying like, oh yeah, but that's fine. The game is so easy, but that's not my point. My point is there could be a whole other system designed to be played in Melt. Melt can have their own Pyro units. And to Hoyoverse, listen, it makes more financial sense that they'll design two line of Pyro characters. So you cannot use the Vaporize characters for Melt and vice versa. You cannot use the Melt characters for Vaporize and Vaporize for Melt. This way they can sell you two different Pyro characters. So you want to play Melt, pull for another whole new Pyro character. If you want to play Vaporize, pull for a whole new Pyro character. And the only character that can play both Vaporize and Melt is going to be the Pyro Archon. I'm telling you guys, listen, you guys are going to call me, like, I'm going to be revisiting this point almost a year from now when the Pyro Archon is about to come out. You guys are going to say I look at leaks. But I listen, I've been telling you guys this stuff a year in advance. Like, just keep scroll back to my other live stream a year in. I've been telling you guys this stuff because this is how Hoyoverse makes money. Right? Right now, I'm telling you 100%. Okay, maybe not 100%. I'm pretty like 80-90% sure that they're trying to make a Melt exclusive Pyro line of characters, so they can sell that shit to you guys. So they're basically gonna make it so your Vaporize characters, the Pyro characters for Vaporize, stay in the Vaporize category, and they'll make a new Melt category of Pyro characters. Right? That's again 12 different constellations. If you want to see 6 this character, that's 6 constellations. You want to see 6 this character, that's 6 constellations. Why in God's name would they make one character that works for both of these amazing reactions? They wouldn't. Of course they wouldn't. Like, why do you guys think Melt has never really been developed? They just haven't figured this shit out yet. They're just sitting there being like, like, we don't want to make a Pyro character that works for both. No, that's stupid, right? Like, we need to make a whole different like category of characters so then we can milk them twice as hard. And what's even more insane is now the fact that they somehow Hoyoverse tied a whole new element into it, being Dendro. Now they can sell you Dendro, Pyro, and Cryo in one package to create the ultimate Melt compositions. It's just like, what? Like, what? Like, somehow we let them sneak a whole new element into this equation. You thought Melt was just Pyro and Cryo? Think again. Like, God damn it, Hoyoverse. You sneaky snakes. listen, right? I just like I don't want I'm not telling you guys to praise me to say that I'm right. Like sure, keep criticizing me. Like that's how I come up with better ideas. When you guys like present a different viewpoint, that's how I come up with better ideas. In fact, I actually actively welcome you guys to say things that you think that I am wrong. Like I'm not always right, but I'm telling you guys, when it comes to these general macro stuff, I've been more right than wrong when it comes to Hoyoverse and stuff. Right? People who have watched me long enough knows. Like I keep saying a lot of stuff. Like remember when I said that? Remember when I said that the next thing Hoyoverse has to fix is Crystallize? When did I say that? Like when Sumeru was just about to be released, I was criticizing Crystallize, right? They're going to do something for Crystallize. I also talked about physical carries being underwhelming. I said Electro was an element that needed to get help. It needed its own identity. And I got criticized for that. When I said, oh, people were like, yo, Warriors, you're capping. Like, Electro is fine. Electro is perfect. Electro, like, bro, this guy doesn't know Electro charge teams, Lamau. Look what happened to Electro, right? I say it like it is because I play this game day in, day out, and I notice problems. And I'm telling you, Eula has a problem. Venti has a problem. I don't know if they're ever going to fix Venti, but Eula, maybe Mika will solve some of her issues, but is it going to completely make it like problem solved, clear skies? Probably not. What's more likely is that they're making Mika for like a new physical carry in the future. Mika is already now here, ready to go. So in the future, when they release a new physical carry, Mika, because think about it, Mika gives attack speed and physical damage, which it helps Eula. But you know who it will help more? An attack speed based physical carry unit, whose DPS is directly tied to how fast they can attack. Maybe, or maybe they have scaling based off of attack speed. Who knows? Physical stuff is all up in the air. So it's just like, yeah, Eula kind of got the Zhao treatment, right? Like, sure, you know, this unit will help her, but maybe this unit was designed to be synergized with another newer and more modern 5-star physical DPS unit. Mika isn't enough to save Eula. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, it can alleviate some of the problems. Like, it can, for example, you can stack your bursts faster, right? You can get your stacks faster, meaning you can do more damage, which is all great and stuff. Also boost physical damage, even better. Great and stuff. But let me tell you, Eula's problem was never damage. She has the highest like single instance of damage in the game. Why does she need more damage? She doesn't need more damage. What she does need is a way to be more consistent and reliable for people who don't want to like rerun chambers over and over again. Eula mains are some of the mains that rerun chambers the most. They constantly are rerunning chambers to get more optimal clears, or they somehow mess up to rectify a mistake. Right? If you guys think characters like Venti, Eula are fine, they're fine. If you think, you know, Razor is the best character in the game, Razor is the best character in the game. No, like, remember, no one is saying you cannot believe what you want to believe. But I am of the strong belief that it's very disingenuous for people to spread their beliefs as gospel. And I constantly tell you guys, double check whatever I tell you guys. Check a secondary source. If you don't enjoy what I'm saying, or you don't trust me when I say something, go check somebody else. Do you have anyone you trust in the community? What are they saying? Right? Like, that's what I constantly like, double check everything. So, like, and I guarantee you, there's definitely more people saying Venti has issues and Eula has issues than there are people who says they don't have issues. Right? The people who tell you, oh, but I've been 36 starring with Eula for the last, you know, year playing this game. She's fine. Right? then you gotta look. Then you gotta look at how they're playing. Like, is that the play style you want? You need to get to know more about how they're achieving that, right? If you really care about it, maybe hop in a Discord chat with them. Be like, hey, can you show me your team? Can you show me some recordings? I'm really interested in maining Eula, and I'm really scared because, you know, people like Walrus, people like these other people are saying Eula has some issues, but then, you know, people like you are claiming that you've been using her for so long with no issues. So, like, who's right? Somebody is lying, right? Somebody has to be wrong. What are Venti's issues though? Oh boy, don't get me started on this. Wait, okay, April, are you seriously asking that question or are you memeing? Because at this point, I really can't tell. Are you a newer player, or are you somebody who don't mind, you know, working with difficult characters? April says, I don't have him really. Okay. God bless you, because I'm being so unfair to Venti, but at the same time, I really can't believe how stubborn some people can be, and I know there's a portion of people who are saying it just for the sake of saying it. So like, they know Venti is bad and they know that he has problems, but they are saying it just to be different. You know what I mean? Anime Holic Top says, why are you suggesting that Melt needs fixing? It's insanely strong already. I play Melt Ganyu a lot and my Caesar Ganyu gets 200k melts. Right. Here's the thing about Melt, okay? And it's great that you brought up Melt. It's because Ganyu Melt is a very, how should I say it? It's like a very ragtag version of Melt. Ganyu Melt is like, we're taking our understanding of the game right now, the best level of understanding that we have for the game, and we're trying to jigsaw puzzle our way out of the Melt reaction. The Melt reaction focuses more on infrequent hits, but very high scaling attacks. So that's why you're gonna see that 200k melts, right? But what if I told you, Anime Holic, that when Melt reaches its peak potential, you should be hitting for like 600k per hit, and then by then your 200k melts would seem much more insignificant. Because think about it like this, Anime Holic Tops. Hu Tao. I keep going back to Hu Tao. We can use Yoimiya, right? Vaporize. How much damage is Vaporize generating per DPS cycle? Let's say 1 Hu Tao infusion, 1 Yoimiya infusion, and compare that to what Melt can do in the same time frame. Right? So once you see the difference, and at the same time, you have to realize that Ganyu Melt has its flaws as well. It's not a perfectly in sync synergy. You know why that is? It's because we are forcing it to happen. We are piecing it. It's like you have a puzzle and then you realize, hey, these puzzle pieces kind of fit together, but they don't quite fit together perfectly. But if I bend it and I squeeze it and I push it down, it fits. Hey, look, I have a little piece of puzzle here. Like, sure, like if you look at it from afar, maybe it looks fine. But if you really closely examine it, the pieces were never meant to be in that position. It's just we forced it to happen. That's why I keep telling you guys, Hoyoverse, like, and also another key factor that points to the fact that Melt is incomplete is they've never released characters for Melt. Name one character in the history of Genshin Impact that was released to play Melt. Just one. Like, very obviously pointing towards Melt. None. Let me answer that for you. None. Zero. Big fat zero. Not a single character has ever been released to be played in a Melt composition. We forced it to happen. We forced it to. Ganyu, when she first released, was she meant to be played in Melt? Right? Really think. We can look towards our theory crafting lords, our lord and savior. What was Ganyu released for? Morgana. Her best team was, like, when Ganyu was at the peak of her performance, it was Morgana. It was a freeze composition. They were all freeze characters. All of them were freeze characters. Yeah, like when Ganyu was at her peak, most played, she was being played in Morgana team. So Ganyu Melt didn't exist until later, way later. So, and then Ganyu Melt got better because of Nahida, right? The EM buffing and all that stuff. So, but that's still forced. It's all forced to happen because we are taking our understanding of the game and we're forcing Melt to happen. I'm not saying it doesn't work. Of course it works. It clears content. C6 Ganyu playing Melt is absolutely insane. But I'm telling you, what if there are now characters that are specifically designed for Melt? Taking Ganyu as a basis and evolving upon that kit to make a perfect Melt meta, right? And Lars says, Warriors reverse Melt teams has frequent hits, Rosaria, Kaya, Jiangling, Bandit. We just need more cryo units that have AoE cryo application. Yeah, but the thing is, all the ones you're mentioning are like subpar. Like again, we're forcing those things to happen, right? Okay, we understand reverse Melt is a thing. We can make this happen with these characters and do this. But then again, there's no single composition that feels comfortable to play now, is there? It's all just these ragtag, like these random pieces that we're trying to force to, like, oh my goodness, like I'm just gonna try this and this. It's like trying to make a point. Like, okay, like if you really want this, like I can piece this together and I can run this and I can like bring this character here and oh look, Melt. Ta-da! Melt. But that's not how it's supposed to work now, is it? Look at Raiden National. Look at how flawless that team is. Look at Morgana during its peak. Look at how insanely in sync all the pieces. It's like a well-oiled machine. This isn't a well-oiled machine. This is like some like third-party like screws you found from another person's vehicle that you just like unscrewed, and now you're like, okay, let me just put it over here and let me just get some duct tape and like wrap it around here. Oh, like put some like motor oil here. It's ragtag because Hoyoverse has never developed it. Once Hoyoverse develops it, then we'll reevaluate Melt and be like, okay, this is what Melt was supposed to be. Like I'm telling you guys right now, when that day comes, you'll look back at Ganyu Melt and be like, huh, interesting. Like, you know, like, okay, we didn't really know what Hoyoverse had in store for us. Like I'm telling you, because it's just like how they're gonna fix Crystallize. They're gonna fix Crystallize. Like I'm telling you guys right now, they're gonna fix Crystallize. It's not a matter of if, it's but when. When are they gonna fix Crystallize? Is it gonna be post Fontaine? Is it gonna be post Natlin? Who knows? They're gonna fix Crystallize. Physical meta has to evolve, and once they get done, maybe they'll go back to Melt. I think Melt might be the last piece of the puzzle. Right? Because before, if they develop Melt without doing Crystallize, then Crystallize really is just left out to dry. Who knows? Maybe they could just leave Crystallize for last. I see them already working on physical carries, which I've said this in the past as well. But right now it's Melt and Crystallize. That's the last two pieces of the puzzle. Shatter? I don't even know what the hell that is. Who plays Shatter? Wait, Shatter is physical after cryo, right? Like after a character is frozen, you use like physical to break it, and then that's Shatter. My god, Shatter. Huh. Ganyu, Jiangling, Bandit, Zhongli is a team with perfect synergy. I play it almost every day and it feels flawless. But the thing is, Ganyu and Jiangling doesn't have a perfect synergy because like if you, people do say if you want to play Ganyu Jiangling, you can't use Ganyu's burst. How is it perfect synergy when you a piece of the kit is locked out? And also, Ganyu by nature is a unit that wants to shoot from a distance. But Jiangling's burst is close range. So basically, Ganyu is forced to hit people on their faces because Jiangling's burst is up close. Whereas Zhongli is really here because you need to make sure that Ganyu has a safe damage dealing environment. But if Ganyu was a little further away, maybe she doesn't really need Zhongli shield. Zhongli shield and Ganyu also have an awkward synergy because Zhongli shield has a distance, right? If you go out of a certain distance, then the shield aura doesn't exist as well. I think I can make a case for that team if Ganyu was C6. Right? If Ganyu was C6, that team makes more sense because Ganyu C6 is like you just E and shoot the ground. Right? Zhongli's shield makes more sense. Xiangling's burst makes more sense. But what if I told you there could be a future Pyro character that's more like Yelan, but hits more infrequently, but also shields your Ganyu? Maybe that character is a more suited one. Less pyro application, less scaling, more like and the character is designed to facilitate. The team only works right now. Like this might be influenced because we don't have anything to compare it to, right? Animeholic. I think right now it's because there's a lack of other melt compositions. You have no other good viable melt compositions to compare that to. So how do you know that it's comfortable to play? Like it works, right? It's better than all the other options. So by default, it's the best one we got. And we're tricked into thinking, okay, this is the best we got. So therefore, it has to be the one. It has to be, the way of the melt. And now people look at Xiangling and be like, we need another Xiangling so we can maximize this melt potential. What if we have, like a ranged Xiangling, like a catalyst pyro support character or something that can synergize with Ganyu from range? That would be better with great application. But the problem with application is that when pyro has too much application, what I've noticed is, like I said, it's never like you should never be playing him or her in melt. Vaporize will always be better. Sure, it's an option. Like I know what people will say in response, like, but Walrus, why does it have to be better? Why do we have to compare? Why does it have to be vaporize versus melt? Why can't we just let them coexist and be happy with it? But what I'm telling you is, comparatively, when people are polling for characters, they're going to compare. They're going to be like, okay, which one should I? I'm going to pull this character, but I'm going to play this character in vaporize. Right, like because that's the best team. That's like why do you think people like Ziox, people like Sevi Plays, people like X-Slice, they have such a huge audience and followers? Because there's a lot of people playing this game who wants to know what's the best way and the most optimized way to play the game. So when a new pyro character gets revealed, those theory crafters and guide people, they're going to figure out the best possible composition for these characters in like a couple days. And then once they promote that, that's going to be it. Sure, there are people who play these characters in niche compositions, but those compositions will never truly flourish. That's why if you want to play a melt composition, you want a good melt composition, you need characters that are designed to be played in melt compositions. Hence why characters like Xiangling will never, ever, ever in a million years be played in melt as the best possible composition, because characters like Xiangling were designed to be played in vaporize. They work in melt. I'm not saying they don't work. Again, two different things. They're just not the best in melt. I play both melt and freeze Ganyu, and melt Ganyu does way higher damage than freeze. Well, the thing is, because they killed freeze Ganyu. In fact, I have something cool to show you guys. We have the stats for the new Abyss. The stats are out. Let me open this for you guys. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Let me just get this open on my second monitor so I can show you guys. I have somebody who's been feeding me these stats. Let's see. Where is the... Okay, we got this. These are CN stats for 3.4 Abyss usage. Always fun to look at this stuff for me. Dun 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 dun. All right. Okay. We'll zoom in a little bit for you guys. So these are the teams that are being used. So again, let me just translate this for you guys. Obviously, this is the team composition. This is the usage rate. This is the play rate. This is the own rate. And this is the first half, lower half. Okay? So this team was used in the first half 85 times, second half 15 times. This team was used in the first half 2 times, second half 98 times. Right? That's how I'm assuming this is showing. So, let's look for Venti first. Oh, interesting. Could have sworn that dude was an Archon. Wait, I must have missed him. Don't worry. I'll find him. Where's Venti? Okay, there's Kazuha. But Venti's an Archon, right? Venti's an Anemo Archon, so he has to be beloved by everybody. And plus, there's no problems with Ventis. Okay, maybe he's on the next page. We'll see. Well, let's look at some other stats. Let's look at how many people are playing these other characters, right? Like, I mean, surely we'll find something here. So again, this is the times they appeared. This is the times they appeared. This is how many people own this character. So 105,000. So you know this is a huge pool of players. Over 100,000. So the number of people who own Zhongli is 105,062, and he appeared 85,175 runs. And the own rate is 87.9. So out of the people who participated in this research or this data, 87.9% of the people own Zhongli. So there are actually still people who don't even have Zhongli, right? And his usage rate is 81.1%. Zhongli right now sits atop. He's the number 1 unit, it seems like. I don't know why they rank Zhongli all the way up here. I would assume Nahida is number 1. I don't know why. Maybe because less people own her. I don't know. So Nahida is, I guess, second place here. 83,322 people own this character. I mean, the time that she appeared, 97,312 people own her, right? 81% own rate and 85.6% usage rate. Really highly used, this character. Raiden Shogun. So the 3 Archons. No. I'm sorry. The 4 Archons are here at the top. So we got the Geo Archon. We got the Dendro Archon. We got the Electro Archon, and of course we got the Anemo Archon. So okay, it's good. All the Archons are at the top, which is to be expected, right? They're Archons. That's why they get to sit atop the usage rate. Nothing wrong here. And then we have Yelan. Oh my god, 69.8. Paid actors. These are all paid actors. 66,744 times Yelan appeared, with 95,638 people owning her. 80% own rate. Kokomi is a character that not a lot of people own. Like, remember this third column of numbers, it's the percentage of people that owns this character and use them. So then we got Kokomi here, only 45.5%, but then Alhaitham is even less than that, 33%, but like insane usage rate to be expected because it's his essentially Abyss, right? It's a little inflated. These, like, when the character first come out, this is always inflated. And surprise, we got Hu Tao here. Very beloved character by the community. Like, a lot of people using her. Very consistent. 53.9% own rate. And then usage rate is 38.4%. Yamiko is very consistent nowadays, ever since Electro has become a core piece of the Dendro puzzle. Off-field application is just always welcome. So Yamiko here, 47.7, really nice. And if we keep going down, you'll start seeing very familiar faces. Nilu, right? Ayaka, Tartaglia, and we're done with the first page, essentially. These are basically some of the most popular characters that people are currently running, if you want to talk meta. Right? Want to talk meta? These are the most popular ones. go in here a little bit. What's this? Okay. So here we have the next page. We got the twins, right? We got Ayato, also pretty popular. Got 32% usage rate. This is usage rate at the right? All the way on the right, usage rate. Interesting. And then we got Mona. We got Tignari. Ganyu. See, Ganyu's fall from grace is mostly because that she used to be a Morgana unit. Like when Ganyu was in Morgana, she was like up here. She was like the Kazuha, the Yelan of the era back in the day, right? That's when Ganyu was at her peak usage, but now she's fallen from grace. She's sitting at 11.7%. I'm not saying she doesn't work. She does work, okay? It's just there are so many better options that if you're just trying to get in, get out, get your primo gems and leave, Ganyu is not really a top choice, especially C0 Ganyu. But what ends up happening is if you have C6 Ganyu, she is like the most used speedrunning character. That's why I keep saying Ganyu C6 is a transformative constellation. It suddenly flips the table. Oh! Ooh. Ooh. Okay. Better than Zhao though. Hey, more people use Venti than Zhao. That's fine, right? I mean, for people who thinks Venti is just as good as Kazuha, please, please enlighten me. Then why don't more people? I don't get it. If you guys keep saying Venti is fine, he's no problem, then why don't people play him? Wait, like I'm so confused. Venti is fine, right? So why don't people play him? That's my question. Like, I don't get it. If people are here trying to be like, oh my god, Walrus, why are you overreacting? Venti is totally fine. What's wrong with Venti? There's no problem with Venti. There obviously is something wrong with the stats then. Maybe the CN players are stupid. Maybe the CN players are just stupid. Maybe these players just don't get it. Right? Somebody make this make sense. If you're gonna sit here and defend Venti, you gotta like break this number down for me and tell me what went wrong here. Why? Right? Like for people who are sitting in chat being like, Walrus Venti is good. I swear he's good. Anyways. Eula, here she is. A whopping 1,305. And Eula is the second worst limited character. Maybe third if you want to count Aloy. Hey, we got Aloy mains. There's 10 people who use Aloy. Interesting. Ten people. You know, there's 10 people who are still running. 699 ran Klee, 778 ran Diluc, 914 and here's Eula, 1305. Right? 1305. And let me tell you, I made all my claims before I saw these stats. These stats were literally given to me yesterday by my informant. So, you know, that's something. Albedo has a 2222. Ito 2832. Like these are some of the lower ranking characters. Percentage usage rate is also important. Got to make sure you look at the percentage. Means that some of these characters, for example, Shinhe has a relatively high percentage usage rate because not a lot of people even own this character. You guys got to understand, like, right? Shinhe has an 18.2% usage rate, even though she only appeared 3106 times. But that's because almost nobody owns this character. Only 17,102 people out of all the people who participated own Shinhe. Where's the 4 stars? I never asked the 4 stars, but last time I checked, the 4 stars, Sucrose was higher than Venti. I'm just saying. Hey, listen, I'm not out here trying to like give a death sentence to Venti. I'm just saying Sucrose was used more than Venti the last time I checked the stats, right? So, you know, it is what it is. I think this is let me see, did he give me the 4 stars? Okay, we got this. He did provide me this. So now, after you guys saw all that, we have the tier list. Basically, this is the tier list in the user. Now, this one includes the 4 stars. This time, Sucrose ranked lower than Venti. So Sucrose was here, worse than Venti. So if you gotta look at some of the worst ones, these are the worst characters for this abyss. And listen, when I say the worst, I really mean the least utilized, right? People don't want to rely on these characters because usually there are better options. It's because there are better options. That's why people don't lean towards these characters. Eula barely made it through the skin of her teeth into C tier. Along with Kaching. Oh no, that's B tier. Oh no, yeah. That's C tier. This is B tier. There you go. Barbara, Eula, right? Eula is shoulder to shoulder with Barbara. Amazing. We got Kaching here. Yao, Venti with Albedo. So like Venti nowadays hovers around Kaching and Albedo. That should give you like, if you guys trash on Albedo, you should be trashing just as hard on Venti. I'm just saying. That's roughly where he hovers, and I think maybe on NA you'll see a little more usage for Venti because Venti is an Archon after all. People usually will rely on him a little more. But yeah, apart from that, we got Ito, Zhao, Ganyu. These are all the B tier characters. Like I understand they're just better options, right? For example, Yoimiya, there's Hu Tao. So it's like you're not gonna run Pyro first half, Pyro second half, Vaporize both halves. There's just other better options out there, right? So these are just secondary options you'll see down here. All the secondary options. These are solid all-rounders. Ayato, Ayaka, very solid options. And here are basically the meta-defining core components of some of the most powerful teams. And right up here are basically like the best of the best. Chef's kiss. They're like the core of multiple meta compositions, not just one. So yeah. That's how things be like nowadays. I'll be honest with you guys. Zhongli, Bennett, Kazuha, and Raiden Shogun hasn't moved from this tier for like over a year. They've been sitting up here for like over a year now, very consistently. Xingqiu used to be up here as well, and even before that, Xiangling even used to be up here, but they both kind of slid down more to S tier. I mean, if like I can make a case for Yelan and Xingqiu to maybe be an S+, but I see it makes more sense to have them in S tier. When you compare like this, it definitely makes more sense. I think Kuki is more A tier than S tier, in my opinion, but hey, well, it's their tier list, not mine. It makes sense though, looking at it like this, statistics wise, is these are just some really consistent characters. Like if you look at this list and you have like all the S tier and the S+ tier characters, you're cruising. You are actually cruising. You are winning Genshin and you're winning it hard. Right? These are like, if you go to any theory crafter, anybody credible, they'll all rank these characters really high up. So that's gonna be that. Yeah, Cookie right now is quite broken, and I can't see a future 5-star Electro Healer and Applicator coming out anytime soon. You know, that's the crazy part. I don't see anybody coming out and usurping Cookie soon. At least like in the next 4 or 5 patches. Can't see it. I just can't see it. I think Hoyoverse has bigger things they want to focus on. So Like, okay. Once again, you know, I don't mean to disrespect. Maybe I come off a little passive aggressive, and I do apologize if I do offend you guys, but I'm trying my best to make a point and to make sure nobody ends up falling for a situation where people would be like, oh my god, you know, pull for Venti if you want Venti, right? To skip Kazuha and pull for Venti. It goes just beyond having a subpar Anemo swirl Viridescence user. It goes beyond that. It makes your life many times more difficult than it needs to be if you prioritize Venti over Kazuha. Right? Again, it's fine if you want to go for Venti, but just know that there are severe drawbacks to running Venti over Kazuha in many scenarios, right? Doesn't mean it doesn't work. It doesn't mean that it doesn't work. I'll say that as many times as it needs. It's just harder to make work, okay? And finally, I want to end the last segment of this stream talking about Fontaine and how the game is going to develop towards Fontaine. All right, and of course, take this with a grain of salt. These are more theory and just predictions, as opposed to like hard proven leaks from credible sources. In my honest opinion, I have no freaking clue what the hell the Hydro Archon is going to do, but I always like to reiterate the point of slot consolidation, meaning that I suspect the Hydro Archon has to be working on many fronts. And I do have a concept theory about a potential feature of the Hydro Archon that may be broken. And hear me out. So, the whole concept of HP buffing. All right. So I don't know how many of you guys plays other games like League of Legends and stuff like that. But in League of Legends, there's a thing where if you buff a character's health, so let's say a character has 1,000 health and you come in and you buff them to 1,500 health, 1,500 health, right? Let's say if this 1,000 health character started when you gave him that buff, their health was at 500. So they were half health. For example, a character like Hu Tao. Listen, a character like Hu Tao was at half health at 500, and you came in, you boost her max HP to 1,500, right? Or you boost it by a percentage. What could end up happening is Hu Tao could end up now at 1,000 health when her max health is at 1,500, essentially making her not at half health anymore. But that's essentially a heal, right? Think about it. That's essentially a heal, and once the buffing effect goes away, your max HP reduces down. Now the key thing to note here is when you are getting your max health, are you also getting that additional health? For example, like I said with Hu Tao, is Hu Tao's max HP going to get increased to 1,500, but she's staying at 500 health? Or is Hu Tao going to also gain 500 health, meaning she goes to 1,000 health? That's a very key thing that we have to make out. And of course, I'm just talking out of my ass right now, essentially. It's like that might not even be a feature. But health bonus, like health percentage bonus, sounds like an interesting concept that could now kind of wedge in like between healing and shielding. Now, I'm going to do you guys one step better. Is what if this effect has like an anti-interruption gimmick? Like basically, Dia has additional anti-interruption, right? So think of the Hydro Archon. She gives you more health, bonus health. So basically that gives you more health, and at the same time provides you with a shield or anti-damage resistance, or a bit of both. Like what Dia can do, but also heals you a little bit. Having double Hydro on your team, getting bonus health and getting even more bonus health scaling characters are going to be having a field day if you have the Hydro Archon. I don't know how much of a bonus it could potentially be, but that could be an interesting concept going forward when we talk about health bonuses and characters to benefit from that. Kazra Ken says, you mean increasing current and max health? Yes, basically increasing current and max health. So essentially that's a buff. Think about it like this. When you buff attack, you buff attack. But when you buff HP, you have to buff HP. It sounds weird, right? Buffing HP to do more damage, but that's essentially what it has to be. You just get more HP. It might be a temporary buff like Bennett. Bennett circle, but for HP. Attack is relatively invisible, if that makes sense. HP is more visible because we have our health bar at the bottom of our screen constantly. This still sounds wrong. Designing character to be locked with specific units is too restrictive. That's true. So a more universal thing that could happen is if the Hydra Archon just straight up heals you, right? So it's a healer slash buffer slash support DPS. So consolidating Kokomi with Xingqiu. Can you imagine a character like Kokomi combined with a character like Xingqiu or Yelan? How insanely busted that character could be. I'm just saying. Right? Now that would be an Archon. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. The consolidation of slots basically means like you get the best of both worlds. And Archons basically are designed to do that. Or at C0, she is more like, let's say a 4-star version of Yelan, basically Xingqiu, and also a 4-star version of Kokomi and Barbara. But once you can get her to C2, she starts becoming basically Yelan and Kokomi combined into one character. So constellations could also alter things greatly. If you guys have noticed, Raiden C2 and Nahida C2 have both been very game changing for how popular these characters are and how well they perform. Like, who's to say Folklore is not going to come out with a busted ass C2 that makes it very worthwhile to pick up? Joe D says, Walrus, please, I need you to actually tell me who on earth is saying Venti is as good as Kazuha. I don't believe these people are real. It can't be. Okay, Joe D. Next time Venti has a rerun, I'm going to make a video and I want you to just take a quick scroll into the comment section and I need you to fight my battles for me with these people. Honestly, I think they're bots. I honestly feel like these people are bots. They're Hoyoverse bots. This is another conspiracy. Maybe we need to grab the tinfoil hats. I honestly believe they're Hoyoverse bots that are sent out to these kind of videos to just start shit. Large Banana says, well, nobody could have ever guessed that Nahida would work this way. I think Volkler will also be extremely unique, hence my Rain theory. That's true. Like, when you think about Nahida, like, who the hell was gonna guess Nahida would perform like this? Right? Like, we can guess all we want, but Hoyoverse will always put a slight twist to it. They've actually been surprisingly creative with how Archons are designed and works. SpookyCast says Tenten once made a video and said Venti was a better poll than Zhongli. I wonder how that video aged if you look at it by today's standards. But then again, depending on when that video is made, maybe it's like acceptable. Let's say if that video was made in 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, maybe even 1.6, I think that's acceptable. But if you made that video in 2.0, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, Tenten was basing that on the current Abyss. Like the current Abyss. The one we're currently on right now, this very moment. And he said Venti is better. Hey, Joe D, you found your guy. You see? You wanted one person? How about I give you somebody with like hundreds of thousands of subscribers? Go fight him. Throw hands, Jody. Go. You are our undercover agent. Take him out. We got him. We got him. We found him. 1010, the guy. We found him. Get him. I'll take him out. Yeah. Oh my god. I mean, listen. I just couldn't put a name on it, but I've come across so many comments. It's constantly fighting this battle. Like Venti is better. Venti is better. Like Kazuha is just an inferior. Like Venti's an Archon, man. Like Venti can like suck like the best CC in the game. I can't argue with these people anymore. I feel like it's the same guy with different accounts. I honestly feel like that. It's just one guy with like 20 different accounts who's just doing this for shits and giggles. I wouldn't even be surprised if one day I found out it was just some dude trolling content creators for clout. It'd be just like, oh, I'm gonna go to this guy's video and argue with him about Venti being better than Kazuha, and let's see how he responds. I can't deal with this anymore. Lorekeeper Zenith says, isn't 1010 known for back takes in it? But does he have worse takes than me? I'll have you guys know, I will not relinquish my bad takes throne that easily. Ah. Looks like it's time for Chi-Chi Battery 2.0. Do I need to make a new Chi-Chi Battery video to reclaim the throne? Ten trashes Zhongli like how Walrus trashes Venti. God damn. God damn. Hold up. We might have found our nemesis enemy. Large Banana says, we need to think this way. All Archon releases with a new artifact. What we need to guess is the new artifact, it will point to their skills. So for healing, Clam's already there. But the thing is, I feel like when it comes to the role of Hydro, what's most valuable right now is if you can combine all the Hydro characters into one. That would be so damn, like, oh, if I could imagine, golly, imagine having Kokomi in the same team as Yelan as one character. How good of a character would that be? Not for Hu Tao, that would be detrimental to Hu Tao, but if we can have their burst and elemental skill be different things, that could be good. For example, the burst is the healing, the elemental skill is like the Yelan stuff. So basically, if you pair her with Hu Tao, you just don't use the burst. Period. You run Zhongli, don't use the burst, and you get the best of both worlds. And then you can free Yelan and Kokomi to be on the other team for whatever compositions you want to run. Like consolidating Hydro slots. Oh, and when she gets to C6, she's also Ayato and Tartaglia. You know what I mean? Like once you scale the Folklore to C6, suddenly she's an on-field Hydro like DPS machine. Or even better, make that her C2, right? Make a Folklore basically the complete Hydro package. If you get Folklore to C2, she can play on-field Hydro driver like Tartaglia. She is like better than Tartaglia and Ayato. But at base, at C0, she's like a Yelan and Kokomi combined. Like how broken of a character is that? Are you going to tell me you're not going to pull for that character? You're going to pull for that character. You will. You know? Because that's what Hydro is, right? That Hydro is the almighty element. It's the core of some of the best synergies. It doesn't matter if you like freeze, if you like vaporize, if you like electro charge, if you like hyper bloom, if you like crystallize. Hydro is just that good. So it's like, you know, there's no reason the Hydro Archon would be like, and think about it. You can't have another Yelan. Yelan's Yelan. You can't just make another one. So she's not like Yelan. Kokomi is Kokomi. These characters are sitting atop the very, 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 like, what's that word? Creme of the crop of the creme, the tip of the creme of the crop of the cake. They're basically as high up as you can go when it comes to characters. So you can't even like try to out niche them or outperform them. Like you can't. So it's like, then what are you gonna do? Like, what could the Hydro Archon possibly provide us that these other characters are not already providing? Consolidation. You know? That's what it is. Or maybe a mixture of other things. Maybe she's gonna be like a combination of Zhongli and Kazuha and Yelan or something like that. Like, regardless of what she does, she is going to help us consolidate some slots. That's my final answer. Calling it. I don't think she's gonna be just another like Yelan, just another Kokomi, just another Xingqiu, just another like whatever Hydra, like a DPS. She's going to be pretty revolutionary when it comes to going forward to free up slots for your team comps to bring more powerful synergies. So basically, having her on your team will allow you to open up higher DPS ceilings by simply freeing up options, like better options. That's it. She's going to speak French to us. Damn, unfortunate that my game is on permanent mute. God damn it. Oh. She's going to be all three in one. Yeah, and what I've realized is once you get constellations for these Archons, usually they're pretty transformative by C2. So, good luck to everybody saving. If you start saving now, I think you can make it for a C2 Folklore. Just saying, if you skip every single character until Folklore, you probably can get a C2 Folklore. Time to save, that's right. I'll be saving with you guys. What does C2 do? What C2 usually does for Archons is it unlocks, like usually C2 for Archons unlocks their damage ceilings. Right? So here, let's go in game and I'll break this down for you guys so it makes more sense this way, right? Okay. Venti and Zhongli don't count because they're the old versions. Like they're the old Archons in terms of design, that their constellation like 2s were a little different when it came to conceptual stuff. But starting from Raiden, they realized that if we just make C1 and C2 really good, people are gonna pay. Even people who usually don't spend on the game will pay money once a year to get that C2. So ever since what this C2 does for Raiden, it's what it essentially did was increase her damage ceiling. Am I wrong? Sorry, let's remove chat for really quickly. That's what this did. It gave Raiden a new slot to be played in, which is like a hyper carry slot, right? Now, this constellation, and fundamentally Raiden and Nahida are very different. So Raiden opened up a new slot, and Raiden basically became worthy of having 3 characters funneling damage into her, and she is the one to deal the damage. Think about the difference between Raiden National versus Raiden Hypercarry. Raiden National, Raiden is sharing damage output with Xiangling and Xingqiu, right? And plus Raiden. So these 3 characters combined make the Raiden National team. That's Raiden C0 National. That's the core concept, is Raiden batteries the whole freaking team and shares some damage field with Xiangling and Xingqiu, because that's all she can do. That's her damage cap. But once you run Raiden up to C2, suddenly running Raiden with Sara, with Bennett, with Kazuha, who the hell's doing damage on this team? Raiden. Now she's dealing up to 80 to 90% of the damage on this team. That's the difference between Raiden C0 and C2. C2 Archons are designed to be more transformative. Now let's look at Nahida. Don't get baited by the whole like 20%, 100% like crit. Like it's so BS. Basically, it's like a 20% damage bonus, right? That's basically it. I don't know why they make it. Listen, it doesn't. It's so dumb, but it works. It seems like they add some BS crit stats here and be like and all this like overly complicated stuff. But essentially is just like kind of like a 20% damage bonus, is it not? So Nahida C2, what it ends up happening is it really like lends to the identity of Dendro. So hear me out. What is Dendro's strength? Chat. It's not a rhetorical question. So in chat, what do you guys think is Dendro's best strength? Being Dendro. Like, what makes Dendro a good element to even play? Right? Like, what is Dendro's strength? When you think about Dendro, it's the reactions. Yeah, the Dendro reactions are like the whole thing about Dendro. Like, their reactions are so utterly busted ass broken that Dendro is broken because of the reactions. That we can basically say that. And what does Nahida C2 essentially do? Burning, bloom, hyper bloom, version, right? Quicken, aggravate, spread. It empowers all the Dendro reactions. So Nahida's design concept is different from Raiden because Nahida is a Dendro applicator / EM buffer, whereas Raiden is a universal battery / driver and DPS. The fundamentals of their kit is different, and this is further highlighted by their Constellation 2. Nahida basically takes what makes Dendro strong and makes it even stronger. Focus on the strength. The strength is the Dendro reaction. So we are going to buff the ever-living date. Okay, it's not that big of a buff. It's good. It's very good. But it's not like it's not like you know, mind-shattering good. But it's very helpful. What this single constellation does is it increases the ceiling of, listen, all Dendro-focused units. If any unit ever comes out and they are a Dendro reaction focused unit, Nahida C2 will increase the ceiling of said character. Think about how utterly disgusting that sounds. One constellation to rule them all, one constellation to bind them, and one constellation to completely uproot the ceiling of all Dendro focused units. How amazing is this constellation? It's like you get this one constellation and you have essentially like C1 for all Dendro focused composition. It's so efficient, right? That's what Archon constellations are nowadays. C2 Raiden is a very self-centered, self-focused constellation, whereas Nahida C2 is like a everybody receives some love. If you want to play Dendro, you're going to receive some love and care from this C2. Great concept. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. It's not necessary, but it's certainly nice to have. It works well with Nahida's thematics as well, right? So you tell me, is suddenly Hoyoverse is gonna pivot and be like, no, we're gonna mess up Folklor's constellation. So of course, Folklor's constellation 1 and 2 are going to be pretty good. We just have to figure out what's the core thematics of Folklore. Justice, right? I think she's the Archon of what was she the Archon of? Was it the Archon of Justice? No, right? Was it? What was it? The Archon of, what is Folklore? Balance? Justice. Is it Justice? Okay, the Archon of Justice. When I think of justice, I think of that scale. You guys know what I'm talking about? Like there's this scale being like good, evil, or like guilty, not guilty. You see that scale? You guys know what I'm talking about. Am I too old? Okay, thank goodness. You guys know what I'm talking about. So that scale, right? Get this. What if Folklore has an ability that has two different effects? Imagine her elemental skill or her burst skill. When you activate it, if let's say if your health is over 50%, then you get a certain effect. Let's say if your health is over 50%, you get X effect. But if your health is below 50%, you get a different effect. And it leans completely different to different situations. And that's the balance. That's the scale, depending on like you, right? So like it's a dynamic burst effect, meaning that it lends to the flexibility of an Archon. So basically now she can synergize with characters like Hu Tao, and like maybe even Zhao, who are maybe lower on health. And she can also synergize with characters who are more on health. So let's say if you're more on health, let's say if you're below half health, you gain a shield or like you gain like something to help you prevent you from taking damage, while also gaining like a max HP buff and also some damage boost or something like that. And if you're past 50% health, you get God, I don't know, like basically you get Yelan's burst coming. I don't know. It's just like it's cool if they just have this like a thing where depending on where you're at, you can have a different effect for your burst, and her elemental skill could be something else. I don't know. So it's just like it could be cool. Like the reason I think her elemental skill could be like a Yelan burst or Xingqiu burst is look at Nahida's elemental skill. What does Nahida's elemental skill do? It's very consistent dendro application. What does Raiden's elemental skill do? Right? What does Raiden's elemental skill do? Consistent electro application. What does Zhongli's elemental skill do? Consistent geo application. So what do you think Folklore's elemental skill is gonna do? I just taking a random shot in the dark. I'm gonna say off a limb and off of prior predecessors, it's going to be consistent hydro application. I'm just saying, and look how long this lasts. Look how long this thing lasts. Can you imagine having a Yelan burst in your pocket, like as an elemental skill with like an 8-second cooldown? Like, can you guys imagine how busted that is? Right, this thing is 6 seconds. Raiden's thing is 10 seconds. Zhongli's hold is like 12 seconds. Imagine having a Yelan burst as your elemental skill. Yeah, what if Folklore has Xingqiu's burst, but just, yeah, exactly. Imagine having a Xingqiu Yelan burst in your elemental skill. You're gonna tell me that's not a character that's worth drooling over? Oh my goodness. The more I talk about this, the more giddy I get. I think Folklore is truly going to be game-changing. Oh. Oh. Is that her Archon name? Yeah, it's Folklore. Some people say also call her Folsalore, but I think it's Folklore, right? I don't know. Low, relax, Walrus. I want to relax, but I keep thinking about like I've been thinking about the Hydro Archon for the last like 2 months, and the more I think about it, it's like she just has to be broken. I honestly think she might be the most broken Archon. Like I don't know. Might be going for C6. I don't know. Because my how I have fun in Genshin is I want to try a lot of different things, and right now a lot of like I'm gate kept by a lot of like composition and slot issues, because while I like to play a lot of characters, I haven't leveled up all my characters to the same degree. Like look at my, like, you see some of these characters are still sitting at level 60, Ascension 4. But if I have a Hydro character sitting at level 90, Constellation 6 can double as Tartaglia, can double as Ayato, can double as Yelan, Xingqiu, Kokomi. I'm solid. Neblex says, oh yeah, have you seen the Hydro Archon leak? Fortunately, I have not. I have not seen the Hydro Archon leak. I know it's out there somewhere, but I have not seen. I know there was like severe Fontaine leaks, so, and I've been very careful around that. So yeah, we'll see. Have you also seen the Hydro Traveler beta? Nope, I have not seen that either. They even copyrighted the Hydro Archon art. Oh, that's how bad it was, is it now? Her design is gorgeous. Agreed. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. Fontaine is what? Gonna be what? 3.8 or 3.9, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more patches, give or take 5 to 6 more patches. So like that's like 8, 9 months. So Fontaine is what? Gonna be around the anniversary or closer to Christmas. How many more patches do you guys say? I think 3.5, 3.6, 3.7, 3.8, and 4.0. So 4 more patches, 4 or 5 patches, give or take. Okay, 4 or 5 more patches, manageable. Manageable. 5 months, it's gonna be a little, I think 7 months, right? 6, 7 months. I think it's gonna be in September, right? If it's 5, 6 patches. Let's see. Oh boy. April, May, June, July. Yeah. Gonna be a little while. But I welcome all of you to some of the slowest patches you'll experience in gaming history. I'm telling you, Genshin 3.0 to 3.4 and it feels way faster than 3.4 to 4.0. 3.0 to 3.4 blows past so damn fast always. But 3.4, I mean, and 3.5 to 4.0, damn, it feels like eons. They're lined up to be once a year, right? Every summer. Are you talking about the archipelago? I'm pretty sure it's coming back again this year, and they're gonna redesign it and they're gonna throw it out again, which is cool. Bethesda says, Walrus, read the Ascension Hydro Crystal to know more about her. Okay, I'll look into it. I'll see. I'll be very careful dancing around it. I'm literally saving for Dotori. I think Dotori is pretty cool. Listen, I like when it comes to the Fatui, I swear to God, they're gonna be the good guys by the end. Like they're gonna be the ones actually fighting for the betterment of the world, or they're like Vindictus, and they're trying to fight back against injustice in the world of Teyvat, and we're like constantly getting in their way. How can you look at Dotori and say he's a good guy? Maybe he's like an anti-hero, you know what I mean? Like maybe the whole Fatui is written as the anti-hero. Basically they're heroes, but then they have very at times you can say immoral decisions. They make immoral decisions, but their end goal is the betterment of the world. Maybe, who knows? That could be an interesting twist, is all I'm saying. Look, they justified what's his name? They justify Scaramouche. There are people who are like, oh my god, Scaramouche was just misunderstood. In the end, they're gonna give you one story and be like, "Oh my God, the Fatui was made it's a group of ragtag individuals that's collected by the Tsaritsa, and they were all at one point broken in their lives, and they were betrayed by the gods, and and they were pitted against the depths of hell and despair and born to suffer, and it was the Tsaritsa who guided them towards righteousness. So in the end, they all rise up to fight the world of injustice." And like, they're gonna make you feel bad for them, I tell you right now. I guarantee you, in the end, you're gonna be like, "Oh my God, no, the Fatui! Why did we have to do what we did? Oh no, we should have helped them." They're gonna make you feel bad. That's how it is. That's how it is. Dotori is only in it for himself, torturing hundreds of people as sheep in his eyes. He was always a monster. But what if Dotori was following the principles of sacrificing a few for the betterment of the masses? Which is a very anti-hero thing to even say, right? So he's definitely no hero. He's not like a righteous person, and he's not a good character, but what if by doing what he did and researching what he was researching ends up saving fighting back against the heavenly principle or the sustainer of heavenly principles and ends up saving millions from the harsh judgment of the gods. Final Flame Latomes just throw EM into standard, I'll feel bad for him. Oh no, just throw him into standard and I'll feel bad for him. Yeah, Latome. I see you've been you're on what, day 33 of your Dia daily Dia hype. Man, brother, it's time to it's time to put the candle away. It's time to call it, man. The hype well has ran dry. God damn. Dude, I've been out here trying my best. Like, if you saw some of my videos, I've been trying so hard to, like, keep the copium running, keep the juices flowing. I can't. Not after what they did yesterday. Hoyoverse pretty much came in and dropped the nuke in our hype. Like, our hype started off as maybe a lake. Like, we had a hype lake. Like, oh damn. Like, and then slowly the hype dwindled down to like a little puddle. And like, okay, but we still have this hope left. We still have this puddle. We can still make it work. And then Hoyoverse came in. They nuked the puddle. No, they didn't run a carriage over it. They didn't freaking drop, throw some dirt in it. They straight up came in and like, look at that guy's puddle. Let's nuke it. That'll be fun. Let's just nuke that puddle. And they nuked it. They blew it to smithereens. There's not a piece, there's not even a single particle of hype cope particle left in my hype reservoir. They utterly destroyed it. Press, since your Hu Tao main video, I've spent all of my primos on C1 Hu Tao and lost twice on weapon banner, currently grinding for guaranteed for the past 2 days now. But your next weapon is guaranteed. Wait, if you lost twice, did you get a Yelan bow? Press? Did you get the Aqua Simulacra? If you got Aqua Simulacra, you're still winning. Especially if you got 2 of them, you're still winning. R1 Aqua. So that means you... Oh, R2. Yeah. You're still winning. You're still winning. Hype train derailed? Nah, bro. Bro, listen. This ain't a derailment. Our hype train hit that frickin' Hoyoverse barrier at like 500 kilometers per hour. Bro, our hype train went full speed right into Hoyoverse's frickin' brick wall. I'm telling you, there aren't many survivors on this hype train. I can tell you that much. Speed never killed anybody. It's the sudden change in speed that kills. And I'm telling you, this sudden halting of our hype train did irreversible damage to the Dia community. Oof. Oof. God damn. I'm sorry. You still pulling Dia Wars? I'm still pulling Dia. I'm guaranteed Dia. So I'm pulling for her. The Dia mains Reddit was in shambles. Yeah. The first place I checked was the Dia mains subreddit, and I was like, God damn. How are these people still holding on? I think Dia might be the most controversial limited banners apart from Zhongli's banner released to date. She's worse than Yaimiko, that's for sure, when it comes to controversies. Like, The thing when it comes to Dia is she's so bad, she's good. That's the thing when it comes to Dia. She's so bad that she's gonna be good. And I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. Anyways, that's gonna be that from me. Thank you so much for tuning in and supporting the content here. As always, I'd love to see you guys on next Wednesday's stream. Stay tuned for the video, subscribe, like the stream. It really helps. Actually, liking the stream helps out a lot. Yeah. And I'll be going away, playing some DGen Nikkei, maybe farming some more artifacts. And again, if you guys have anything you want me to talk about, just shoot me a DM and I'll see if I can fit it into the videos. But yeah. Peace, peace. Bye bye. Farm ores. Nah. Bye bye.